Welcome to History by Chat GPT, the show where we trust AI to be correct. Come on this journey through the history of movies. From the flickering black and white images of the 19th century to the dazzling digital blockbusters of today, the evolution of cinema is a fascinating tale of innovation, artistry, and cultural impact. Join us as we explore the milestones and marvels of the movie industry, decade by decade. The story of movies begins with the invention of photography in the early 19th century. In 1839, Louis Daguerre introduced the daguerreotype, the first commercially successful photographic process. Before motion pictures, there were magic lantern shows, which used painted glass slides to project images. These were the earliest forms of visual storytelling. In 1878, Edward Muybridge captured the motion of a galloping horse using a series of photographs, proving that a sequence of still images could create the illusion of motion. By the 1890s, inventors like Thomas Edison and the Lumiere brothers were experimenting with devices that could project moving images. Edison's kinetoscope and the Lumiere brothers' cinematograph were groundbreaking. The first films were simple, short, and often documentary in nature, capturing everyday events such as workers leaving a factory or a train arriving at a station. The early 1900s saw the first public film screenings. The Lumiere brothers held their first screening in 1895, showcasing short films that amazed audiences. Georges Méliès, a former magician, began creating imaginative films with special effects. His 1902 film, A Trip to the Moon, is one of the most iconic films from this era. Nickelodeon's, the first type of indoor exhibition space dedicated to showing films, began to emerge around 1905, offering affordable entertainment to the masses. Innovations in editing and narrative techniques began to develop, allowing filmmakers to tell more complex and engaging stories. The 1910s marked the rise of silent films and iconic stars like Charlie Chaplin, who captivated audiences with his comedic antics as the Tramp. In 1915, D.W. Griffith's The Birth of a Nation showcased the potential of feature-length films with its epic storytelling and innovative techniques, despite its controversial content. Hollywood began to establish itself as the center of the film industry, attracting filmmakers with its favorable climate and diverse landscapes. Experiments with color film processes also began, laying the groundwork for future advancements in filmmaking. The 1920s were a time of experimentation and growth. The decade ended with a bang with the release of The Jazz Singer in 1927, the first feature-length film with synchronized dialogue, marking the beginning of the sound era. Lavish movie palaces were built, reflecting the glamour and prestige of the film industry. Stars like Rudolph Valentino and Clara Bow became cultural icons, drawing huge audiences to the theaters. The behind-the-scenes magic of these early films involved large crews and innovative techniques that laid the foundation for modern filmmaking. The 1930s brought sound to cinema, transforming the industry. Despite the Great Depression, films like Gone with the Wind provided escapism and became major hits. Walt Disney released the first full-length animated feature, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, in 1937, setting new standards for animation. Comedies by the Marx Brothers and screwball comedies became immensely popular, providing much-needed laughter during tough times. Newsreels also became a staple in theaters, keeping audiences informed about world events during a time of significant global change. The 1940s were dominated by World War II, influencing films with themes of patriotism and heroism. Casablanca became an enduring classic. Film noir emerged, characterized by its dark, moody aesthetics and complex, often cynical characters. After the war, the film industry adapted to the new realities of a changing world, exploring more diverse themes and stories. The Hollywood Canteen, where servicemen could meet stars and enjoy entertainment, symbolized the industry's support for the war effort. The 1950s are often considered the golden age of Hollywood. Stars like Marilyn Monroe and James Dean became cultural icons. Drive-in theaters gained popularity, offering a unique movie-going experience. Technological innovations like 3D movies and widescreen formats were introduced to attract audiences. Western films were immensely popular, embodying themes of rugged individualism and frontier spirit. Behind the scenes, the studio system was at its peak, with major studios controlling all aspects of production, distribution, and exhibition. The 1960s saw the rise of the new wave in cinema, with filmmakers like François Truffaut and Jean-Luc Godard pushing boundaries. Stanley Kubrick's 2001, A Space Odyssey redefined science fiction and is still celebrated for its visionary storytelling and special effects. Films like Easy Rider captured the spirit of the counterculture movement, resonating with a generation seeking change. Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho shocked audiences and showcased the potential for psychological horror in mainstream cinema. The independent film scene began to thrive, with directors exploring new storytelling techniques and challenging the status quo. The 1970s introduced the concept of the blockbuster with Steven Spielberg's Jaws and George Lucas's Star Wars. This decade also saw the rise of auteur directors like Francis Ford Coppola, whose Godfather series became a cinematic milestone. Blaxploitation films emerged, providing new opportunities for African-American actors and filmmakers. Inspirational films like Rocky captivated audiences with their underdog stories and emotional depth. Advancements in special effects and new filming techniques allowed for more ambitious and visually stunning films. The 1980s were dominated by blockbuster hits like E.T. and the Indiana Jones series, cementing Spielberg's status as a master filmmaker. The advent of home video revolutionized the way people consumed movies, making films more accessible than ever before. Iconic films like Back to the Future and The Terminator became cultural touchstones. Teen films, often featuring the Brat Pack, explored the angst and drama of adolescence in films like The Breakfast Club. Advances in special effects, particularly the use of practical effects and early CGI, began to shape the visual language of films. The 1990s saw a surge in independent filmmaking, with directors like Quentin Tarantino emerging from festivals like Sundance. Digital technology began to transform cinema, exemplified by the groundbreaking special effects in The Matrix. James Cameron's Titanic became the highest-grossing film of the decade, showcasing the power of epic storytelling. Pixar's Toy Story was the first feature-length film created entirely with CGI, revolutionizing animation. The digital revolution in filmmaking allowed for more creative freedom and new storytelling possibilities. The 2000s were defined by the rise of digital filmmaking. Peter Jackson's The Lord of the Rings trilogy set new standards for special effects and epic narratives. James Cameron's Avatar pushed the boundaries of 3D technology, becoming the highest-grossing film of all time. DVDs and Blu-rays became the dominant home video formats, offering high-quality viewing experiences. Franchises like Harry Potter captivated global audiences, creating beloved cinematic universes. Digital cameras and editing software transformed the production process, making filmmaking more accessible. The 2010s saw the rise of streaming services like Netflix, which changed the way people watched movies, leading to a decline in traditional movie theater attendance. Cinematic universes, particularly the Marvel Cinematic Universe, dominated the box office, creating interconnected storylines across multiple films. International cinema gained more recognition, with films like Bong Joon-ho's Parasite winning major awards and breaking barriers. Animated films like Disney's Frozen became cultural phenomena, captivating audiences of all ages. The rise of streaming platforms also gave a new avenue for independent filmmakers to reach global audiences. As we look to the future, the film industry continues to evolve. Virtual reality and augmented reality promise new ways to experience movies. Diversity and representation are becoming increasingly important, with more voices and stories being heard and celebrated. While streaming continues to grow, there is still a place for the magic of the big screen. The future of cinema is bright, filled with endless possibilities for storytelling and innovation. Film festivals remain a crucial platform for showcasing new talent and innovative films, reflecting the evolving landscape of cinema. From the silent films of the early 20th century to the digital marvels of today, movies have captivated audiences and shaped our culture. Thank you for joining us on this cinematic journey. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share for more history by Chat GPT.